Is an army captain senior to a police inspector? Is a colonel above an SP? If you ever search this online, you've probably seen 10 different answers, and most of them are wrong. Today we are settling this once and for all, using the actual official Government of India documents. And here's the twist. Most people think this comparison comes from the Constitution. It doesn't. The Constitution of India does not rank the army and police against each other at all. What we are about to show you comes from a completely different document, and very few people have actually read it. Before we get to the chart, you need to understand one thing. The army and the police are not the same kind of organization, so they don't have a natural one-to-one ranking. The army is a unified all-India force under the Ministry of Defence, with one chain of command. The police is fragmented. Every state has its own force, plus central forces like the CRPF and BSF, all under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So when people ask who is senior, they're usually mixing up two completely different things: pay level equivalence and ceremonial precedence. We're going to cover both clearly, so you're never confused again. This is based on the 7th Central Pay Commission, which standardized pay scales across the Army, the IPS, and the IAS, so the government could compare salaries fairly. At the entry level, pay level 10, a lieutenant in the Army, an assistant SP or DSP in the police, and an assistant collector in the IAS all start at the same basic pay. One interesting gap: the Army's captain rank at level 10B doesn't have a direct police or IAS equivalent. The police structure simply doesn't have a parallel rank at that exact pay point. At level 11, a major in the Army lines up with a superintendent of police and a district collector. Three roles people love to compare, but functionally they're worlds apart. A major might command a company of soldiers. An SP runs law and order for an entire district. A collector manages revenue and district administration. Same pay level, completely different jobs. Moving up, level 12A is Lieutenant Colonel, equivalent to Senior SP. Level 13 is Full Colonel, equivalent to DIG. Level 13A is Brigadier, equivalent to Inspector General. At level 14, a Major General matches up with an additional DG or Special IG in the police, and a Joint Secretary in the IAS. This is a big one, because Joint Secretary is considered a major milestone in the IAS. Level 15 is Lieutenant General, equivalent to DGP, the chief of a state's entire police force, and an additional secretary in the IAS. And at the very top, level 17, you have the Army Chief, the General and Chief of Army Staff, equivalent in pay terms to the Cabinet Secretary, the most senior civil servant in the entire country. The police hierarchy doesn't extend that high. There's no police rank that matches a 4-star general. Now here's the part almost nobody talks about correctly. The document that actually governs who is senior in official ceremonies is called the Warrant of Precedence. It was issued by the President's Secretariat in 1979 and has been amended several times since. It's maintained by the Ministry of Home Affairs, and it decides things like seating order at Republic Day functions, state banquets, and official ceremonies. At the very top of this protocol list sits the Cabinet Secretary, above every single military officer in the country, including the Army Chief. Right after that come the Service Chiefs, officers holding the rank of Full General, or the equivalent in the Navy and Air Force. Then come the Chief Secretaries of States, within their own state. After that, Lieutenant Generals and equivalent, typically Army Commanders, followed by Secretaries to the Government of India. Then DGP level officers, Directors General of Central Forces like the BSF and CRPF, followed by Joint Secretaries, then Major Generals and equivalent ranks. So even at the highest levels, you can see civil administration and military rank are interleaved, not stacked one above the other in a clean military versus police order. So let's go back to where we started. Is this in the Constitution? No. The Constitution of India says nothing about ranking the army against the police. The Warrant of Precedence is a separate executive document. It has no legal authority. It doesn't apply to day-to-day government functioning, and it's purely ceremonial. It exists to answer one narrow question: who gets seated where at official functions? And even the pay level equivalence chart we showed you earlier comes with a warning label, straight from the documents that define it. Rank equivalence does not equal equal power or equal authority. An SP and a major might draw the same salary, but an SP runs policing for an entire district population, while a major's authority is purely within his military unit. A collector often has more real-world administrative influence over a district than either of them. The numbers match, the jobs don't. This is the part that actually matters if you're preparing for NDA, CDS, or AFCAT and trying to decide between these careers. Operational power, public respect, decision-making authority, none of that is captured in a pay chart. An army officer commands soldiers and operates under the Army Act, with authority that's absolute within the military domain but doesn't extend to civilian law enforcement. A police officer's authority is rooted in civil law, arrest powers, investigation, maintaining public order, but operates within a political and bureaucratic structure that an army officer doesn't have to navigate. They're not the same kind of power, so ranking them as more powerful or less powerful oversimplifies something that's genuinely complex. So next time someone tells you an SP outranks a colonel, or that the Constitution settles this, you'll know exactly where to point them. If you found this useful, hit subscribe and drop a comment letting us know which video you'd like to see next. Jai Hind.